Welcome to Real Estate Success Partner. We're your hosts, Devin Dubuc,
David Wynn,
and we're here to talk about how to have great success in every market. Hey, and today, guys, that market is Houston, Texas. David, brother, who did you bring along with you?
Tiffani Reynolds from Houston, Texas. Welcome to the show, Tiff. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me, you guys.
Oh, we're super excited to have you here. We tracked you down. We got you on the show. And thank you so much, for being a part of this. We're super excited to tell your story. So from Houston, Texas, are you from there originally?
I am born and raised here, grown up here all of my life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you just you graduated one day and said, I want to be a realtor.
No, after I graduated, I said that I wanted to be a musician for life, actually.
Yes.
I attended college, got the music education degree, went and taught band for 9 years.
Very cool.
And then kind of towards the end of that, I was getting a little burned out on band life, and I was ready for a change. And
That's awesome.
I had some other people approach me, and they were already doing real estate, and they basically said, hey, you're a hard worker there. If you'll work just as hard in real estate as you already do here, you're gonna be great. Why don't you come give it a try? Is it okay if I keep going?
Yeah,
Yes.
keep going. We're loving it.
Yeah, so I got the license, maybe around year 7 or 8 of being a teacher, but I didn't do anything with it. I just put it on inactive. I didn't even join a brokerage. I just immediately got the license, put it on inactive. And then kind of as that other year went around for my final 9th year, and I was kind of getting closer to burnout in all honesty, I was ready to give it a try. So that day I went and interviewed. I made the decision that summer of the 9th year to make the change. And I went and interviewed at Keller Williams and Remax that day, and Keller Williams won. So I joined them.
So how long have you been a realtor now, Tiff?
Yeah, so since July 7th, 2017.
2017.
Wow,
Okay, awesome.
Let's go backwards real quick. I got to ask you this because I'm a fellow band nerd here. I played baritone sax, but how many instruments do you play?
I can play a little bit of them all, though I never would
Excellent.
approach the others professionally. But percussion is my main instrument,
I was
drums.
gonna say, what's your favorite? Because I knew you'd have a favorite. It's percussion.
Absolutely, drums and all of that.
And I find that band leaders a lot of the times, teachers, drums are one of their best because you're keeping the beat, you're keeping the drive going with the band. My high school band teacher was a percussionist. That was his main one. But I'll tell you what, if he couldn't pick up every instrument we had and whip off a riff, right? I have a feeling you could do the same thing.
If needed, maybe to impress some middle school kids. I don't know about the adults.
Well, we're impressed over here too. So from band teacher to realtor, and you get in, and Keller Williams won the bid. So Keller it is. Are you still at Keller today?
I am.
That's great. And we understand Keller has a really great training program to get folks up and running. Was that the experience that you had coming in through the doors as well?
Absolutely. I met a lot of new things, right, as coming in and stepping into the real estate world. I never had to sell anything per se as a band director or all my life. My parents are not salespeople, so it was a steep learning curve, hardcore. It was. And so definitely I would not be where I am today without the first productivity coach we had during the first year or two I was there.
Shout out?
Yeah, his name was Crispin Reyna. He did a great job really helping me to grow and understanding the sales process, both from practicality to psychologically and all of that.
Hey, Tiff, how long did it take you before you were able to replace your teacher's job? How long did that take you in the real estate world?
I like instead answering how long did it take until I made my teacher salary in 1 month. I think
like that.
I think the first time I did that was in 2021. That's when I made my whole teacher salary in 1 month. So yeah. I definitely had a slow start. My first year was really rough. Yeah. I started in July 7th. Well, in Houston in August was Hurricane Harvey.
Ouch.
And that decimated Houston, as you guys probably are aware.
Yeah.
And it was a tough go, right? Because a lot of people didn't want to trust their flooded home to a new agent. And there were lots of sales things in language and flood mitigation certificates and all this stuff that I just didn't have the lingo at the time and understanding of what it really would take. And so yeah, from confidence issues to not knowing the right things to say, I had to overcome that all. And I kind of feel like I got the baptism by fire, right? Having
Yeah.
Hurricane Harvey right away. But it taught me a lot. It taught me perseverance and had to learn, through resilience and just kind of keep banging my head up against it and don't stop type of thing. And it turned around all in the second year. I ended up doing 24 transactions that
Boom.
second year. But
Boom.
definitely my first year was dismal.
Hey, Tiffany, I find that ex-teachers make the best realtors. You said that, you had to learn the sales process, but, real estate's more about teaching and educating more than anything. And that's your natural gift, teaching and education more than anything. That's probably why a lot of ex-teachers are so successful in this business. And then the secondary thing is, unfortunately, in our system, teachers don't make a lot of money, right? So you can replace that a yearly annual income at a very rapid pace if
Well,
you.
Dave, it's funny you say that because I don't know if you knew this, but my mother was an educator and she was also a single mother. And the only way she was able to keep clothes on my back and keep me with, the things that I needed was because she's also a realtor.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah. So 100%. And, you're right. Realtors are the best educators, and educators make amazing realtors because you already understand how to help people, and guide them through and show them the things that they need to do to create success in their lives. And now you're helping them create success in their financial future and their ability to become homeowners and sometimes, and most often, building general wealth, right, through real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. And much like as a teacher, we spent building rapport with the students. Right now, it's building rapport with adults. So you're not wrong on that. You're absolutely right. It's education. It's building rapport. It's really, I strive to be their real estate agent for life. That really is my goal. Call me when you need something type of thing.
Well, and did you hear what she said, Dave? She said first year, 2017, which by the way is normal mortgage year, but she had a hurricane, right? But second year closed 24 transactions.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Second year, right? And let's be honest, we know this because we look at this all the time. 24 transactions, that's a great agent, right? That's a great agent, and you're doing that in your second year. So you really must have been hustling during that period of time to be able to do that, right? Because that's pre-pandemic. That's before things got, crazy, right, with real estate. So talk about that. What was the activity that you were putting forth in that first and second year that helped you accomplish that so fast?
Yeah, so there were a lot of things that in retrospect I've learned now from that time. A lot of my lead gen was based around long-term nurtures as opposed to doing the now business, like maybe people would say expired calls are now business, right? And I didn't know that at the time. I was just trying to do whatever I thought I could do. And so what I ended up doing over that first year was I had a massive amount of people that I just stuffed into a pipeline, and I was following up with them, and I was staying in touch with them, and we were getting them in shape to buy, or, we were waiting until all the Harvey flood stuff passed to go on the market and sell their home. And so I just built this large group of people that I kept following up with. And I didn't even realize I was doing that at the time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why my first year was not great with not going after the now business, but it ended up turning around, and all these people I had kind of put into this herd, if you will, they all came popping out of the pipeline on the other side the next year.
Well, where'd you find those people? Let's talk about that, because obviously we know you did a great job of communicating, right? But how'd you find them in the first place?
Yeah, so I definitely did everything the coach told me to do, although maybe I didn't do it all at the fullest level he told me to, right? But I definitely did a ton of open houses. Everybody went into the CRM that I met. I literally made the phone call they tell you to make, which is, Tiffani, call everybody you know and tell them you're in real estate. So we're saying I even called the people I was in high school band with 20 years ago. And I was like, hey, I'm a real estate agent now. And those calls were awkward and it was tough, but I made them all. And I'll remember about 6 months after I made that initial call, one guy that I was in band with, hadn't seen him since high school. This is 20 years later. He's living in LA, and he says to me, "Hey, I'm ready to buy an investment property and I would like for it to be in Houston. Can you help me buy a condo?" Yes, I can. And so he was my first ever condo sell. And so, really that taught me a lot of lesson right away to realize this stuff works. Making these calls, as the coach says, and doing the things that they're wanting me to do, it will pay off. You just have to stay consistent with it.
Call reluctance what? She didn't have any. You didn't have any. I'm sure you did at the time, but the fact is you did it. And let me tell you something. That's the heaviest phone sometimes, right? When you're just reaching out, even if it is the people sometimes those are the harder calls to make because you're like, what am I supposed to tell them? Am I just supposed to tell them I'm an agent? And the answer is yeah. Make small talk. Tell them that you care about them. Ask them how they've been. Hey, by the way, did you know? I've been I'm over here at Keller now. If you've got any needs, I'd love to be there to help you. Right? Is that kind of how those calls went, or what did that sound like?
Yeah, that initial call, just like I said, with that guy I was in high school band with and hadn't talked to him, like, "Hey, Donald, I'm in real estate now. How are you?" And he's like, "Hey, Tiffany, what are you calling me for?" Right? Yeah, they were absolutely awkward. I'm gonna own that. I think an important part of the process that I did was after I called all those people, I went and sent them a handwritten note the next month with my business card in it. And I really feel like the business card helped to solidify that she's just not doing that real estate thing, that they see your name on a business card and it became like this is her professional job now. Yeah. I really felt critical about that solidifying in many people's minds that this was a new career.
Hey, Tiffani, do you have any idea how many of those people became a client? Rough guess, besides that one? We know for sure the one.
I don't know. I can tell you, though, that for me and all of my lead gen, I think it's less about a one-on-one and more about the entire system that's being put out. Yep. That also leads to referrals from those people I'm contacting.
That's right. Yep. Well, I want to explore on that because you talked about the note and you said I think it was the power of the business card, and I think you're right. The business card was great, but it's not the business card. It's the handwritten note. Taking the time to grab a note and write out something special to each one of those people. It means something, right? And we talk about this all the time in our group as well. Is there's something about a note you can't throw it away, right? If somebody sends you something, they take the time to handwrite it. They sit on a mantle, on a desktop. They sit somewhere for a while before you have the courage to throw it away because you realize how intimate it was for the person to actually take the time to sit back and write those notes out. And the other thing you talk about there that's insanely smart is the spheres, because you didn't just tap into your sphere. By doing that, you tapped into the sphere of every single person that you called and every single person that you wrote the note for. So now when they're thinking about real estate, they're not just thinking about the fact you took the time to call them, you wrote them a note and sent it to them. And that is extremely powerful.
Yeah, definitely. I can remember it made an impact on some people seeing, either the business card or the note, and it made them remember. The other thing I started pretty early on also was doing monthly postcards. And in the beginning, right, I didn't have a lot of money coming from the millions I made as a teacher. That's a joke. But one thing I did, I think everybody out there should get creative and remember that there are creative ways to pay for things. So early on, I approached a roofer and a power washing guy, and I asked them if they would three-way the cost of of postcards, and that I told them straight up, I'm going to get the front, and you guys will split the backside of those postcards. And they agreed to do it. I was so shocked because it really made my cost so minimal on postcards while they were really paying for 2/3 of it, right? It was great. So it was an easy way to afford to do that. So pretty early on, I started sending out like 600 postcards a month.
Whose idea was that to split the costs?
Actually, here's what happened. A lender approached me to do that. And there were too many RESPA constraints, let's say, to the way the advertising needed to be, that I sort of said, thanks for the idea. And I asked for these two guys to do it with me, and they agreed, you know?
Well, you're right.
Yeah.
We have constraints on the lending side as to what we can and can't say. And you guys, over there on the real estate side, you got a little bit more flexibility, which is great, right? Because the consumer needs to hear what it is that you're trying to say.
Right. And
so
especially our roofer and power wash, they had no constraints.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. You're 100% correct there, right? Yeah, they can do business the way they want to, and so you were able to use that. It's so smart, right? You took a great idea, and even though you couldn't execute it with the person that brought it to you, you still executed. I'm sure that that agent or that loan originator had some fruits of that labor, hopefully.
He did.
But
yes.
yeah, that's brilliant. So you came in and you said, "I'm going to do what it takes. I'm going to do whatever it takes to create success." And you didn't just do part of it, you did all of it. You did the sphere, you did the postcard, you called everybody in the book that you knew, right? What else? What other things what other tactics were you up to back then to get the success started?
Okay, I really took to heart where I made sure to early on develop my vendor list. So I made sure I was meeting with someone every day until I had 3 deep on every single vendor list. 3 home inspectors, 3 lenders, 3 roofers, all of it. I wanted 3 people that I felt like I could trust, that we were also a personality match. And that because I figured, right, you're already attracting people probably that are somewhat a personality match to you. So I need vendors that can work with them too, right? And like one of those guys is still on my list today, all the way from 2017. So that's been a cool experience of just seeing the growth of both of us. So like that was a big thing. Once I had those lists ironed out, I made sure to meet with someone every day, like a friend or someone that could get me access to people. Like I was a band director, right? So I had a lot of relationships with fine arts directors. Well, usually the fine arts directors are making hires, right? So I met with them, things like that, tried to develop business relationships.
Awesome. That's so smart. And by the way, you just discovered the name of our podcast. So the Real Estate Success Partner, right? So you built your partnership with the people that you're going to do business with. And that's exactly what it is, because we have to have partners in real estate because we want to do business with people that we know, like, and trust. That's extremely important. And at the end of the day, you found the people that you know, like, and trust, and you guys merged the people together that know, like, and trust you, right? And that's how those worlds collide. So I love that you mentioned that too, because that's so smart. Hey, I was preparing for the business, right? I wasn't just sitting back and waiting for the calls, but I was actually preparing my business to become a business. So influential. So let's flash forward, right? So we know in 2021, you had your most successful month ever at that point in time. We won't talk about a dollars figure because it's probably not the classy thing to do, but it was a lot. You did really, really, really well, right?
It made it worth it, right? Yeah.
The dreams are coming true. So how'd that feel? How did that feel to have the ability to say, I made more in 1 month than I'd made in an entire year in a profession that I'd put a lot of effort and energy in?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because it actually was pretty powerful and pretty meaningful. So, people think about just walking away from the job as a teacher, but as a teacher at year 9, it actually was much more than that, because it means that I was really messing up my retirement.
That's right.
Walking away at year 9, being in TRS, teacher retirement system, you don't have Social Security. So I was already like just at the tipping point of, if you walk away now, you're leaving a lot of money inside that retirement account, so to speak, and it kind of can mess up some things. So to finally be at the point where I could say I made this in 1 month, that teacher salary, it made it all worth it. And, I don't know, maybe this is not the appropriate place to mention this, but I feel like I want to, so I'll just say it. You guys can cut it out later if you want. It's just there's so many thoughts on that. You say that number to the wrong crowd and they immediately think agents are overpaid. And it's like, my answer is like, okay, but I did 52 transactions that year. I was working my butt off for it. I absolutely grinded it out hard
Yeah.
to earn this. And like, it just felt validating to be like, this was totally worth messing up the retirement. This was worth like totally turning a 180 on my life and going
right.
a completely different direction with my career and whatnot. Because there was a lot of pressure there from other people I worked with as teachers, right? Oh, what, you're going to go do that real estate thing? You know, there was a lot of that. And
That-
finally, I just sort of had the like when I was quitting band directing, I kind of eventually stepped into the self-realization of like, this, what you guys are saying doesn't matter. Like, this is my life. I need to do what I think is best for me. And so when I finally got to that 1 month salary, I guess it just felt like it was worth it. It was validating. It was like, yes, I'm in the right place. So I know that's a long answer to your question.
I know. I love that you said that because first off, kudos to you for having the bravery to say it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. What matters is this the right trajectory for me, and do I believe in myself enough to say I can do this? And I've got an unwavering commitment to doing what it takes to find that success. And not only were you just pushing the naysayers to the side, but you had a valid reason. My retirement is going to be affected by this, and the TRS is not going to allow for me to get Social Security. That's a big, real problem, right? And,
Right.
and am I walking away from my future, or am I creating my future, right?
Yeah. And also having the fear, right? Like, hey, am I going to go do this real estate thing for 1 year, and am I going to be so terrible at it I have to go back to band directing? Of course that fear was there. And then
Absolutely.
you're thinking like, I don't want all you people to be right that I'm going to be back here with you, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking to the band director people I was surrounded around, you know? And not that they were being negative or bringing me down. I just feel like this is sort of a thing that gets said with teachers.
Right. Yeah.
You know, this scarcity to step out.
What you did was you flicked little guy off the shoulder, right? And you said, I'm not listening to you because I believe in myself.
Yeah.
I believe in myself. And isn't that the American dream? Isn't that what people dream of, is being able to step up and have an opportunity to do what they truly want to do, what they're passionate about doing?
Absolutely. And what I was going to say is it's a good thing I'm stubborn, right? Because even though that first year was so hard, like I just was like, I'm not giving up. I'm not going back to that. Ultimately, you asked earlier kind of what was driving me, and my real answer is I'm not going back to that. I'm not going back to the salary that's extremely limiting. I'm not going back to those very limited opportunities. I'm not going back to the way a lot of teachers are treated in this country. Like, there was just so many things that were driving me to be like, I am going to figure out how to make this work because I'm not going back.
You know what? I'll give me 1 second. You know what they say? What we call that? That's choose your hard.
Yeah.
It's choosing your hard, because either one of those pathways is extremely hard, right? And at the end of the day, you didn't want the hard of I've got to go through doing something I'm not passionate about anymore, right? And I'm willing to do what's harder, which is step up and say I'm going to take the success because I'm going to do what it takes to make it happen. So, Dave, sorry to cut you off, man, but I had to get that out. Go ahead, brother.
No, you're good. No, we got your background on. You did all the right activities to generate the leads, generate everything. But at the end of the day, with the amount of production that you're doing, that's not the reason why you're using the volume. Let's talk about the customer service side of it. Let's talk about the what separates you now as a top tier agent. It's your customer service. What you give to your customers. That's why you're having the production you're having. It's not because of the lead generation or anything like that. So that's what I want to dive into.
Yeah, let's show the passion she has, right, for serving.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'll say is I don't always want clients to find this out, like hear me out, but I will do whatever it takes to get that 5-star. Like, I really want that 5-star review. Yeah. As like dumb and corny as that sounds, I want the 5-star review so bad. And so like, I think that's what drives the customer service, right? Is really trying to answer all of their questions. And every agent that's been in long enough and worked with enough clients, they will always have the one buyer that's asking things that you may feel shouldn't matter, but they feel it does matter, right, to the transaction. And even when those questions can be trying sometimes, I am making sure to deliver on those, because for whatever reason, it is important to that client. And so, yeah, it's just an absolute commitment to get the 5-star. And it bothers me to my core when I don't get it, actually. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We call
I
that
know that's weird, right?
Yeah, no, we call that unreasonable hospitality, right?
Yeah.
We want to provide hospitality on a level that is absolutely unreasonable, because if we do that, we're doing it right. We're doing it right, because if that's not your commitment to serving our communities, right, you're in the wrong industry, right? And I'm not just talking about mortgage or real estate. I'm talking about anything, right? If you don't have a drive and a desire to give people the best of the best of the best, right, then change what you're doing. And guess what? That's where you were, because you were already given the best of the best when you were doing the band, right? But you weren't passionate about it anymore,
Yeah.
And now you came over here and you said, look, I want to do something I'm passionate about. And guess what? Helping people is pretty darn cool,
Yeah.
helping people with their dreams and making them come true, right? And being a part of that journey with them, man,
Yeah.
that's pretty epic.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say that was another amazing thing about it, right? Was at the end of the day, I got in teaching to help people. And I think at the end of 9 years, I was a little bit burned out on how much you can help people in the teaching world. And in here, I felt like there were less constraints to actually help people.
Amen.
And so it truly is like an incredible feeling when you're taking that person that their whole family has never owned a home, and they're finally able to buy a home. They're the first one in their whole generation of family. Like it's just a super cool feeling that I think even my band director friends would be surprised to hear me say that. But it really is. It's an amazing feeling to know, man, I helped this person get here. They when I met them, they felt like they never could do it. That type of thing.
Hey, Tiffany, I've been doing this job for about as long as you have, and previous to this, I was a VP for a bank, and I can tell you, I found my dream job, because there is no better pleasure than when you hand someone the keys and they get into their house. I mean, I can't even describe the feeling I get every time someone gets to purchase a house, whether it's their first time house or their second time house, or whatever. It's home,
Right.
And you're making that happen. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we say it's their biggest investment, financially, but that's not what it is.
It's home.
It's their home.
Right. It's where they feel safe. It's where they lay down at night and on their pillow, and it's sanctuary. So
or it's where they have their first ever Christmas in a home, or first ever Thanksgiving. Everybody's getting to come over, or my son's turning 5 and we've never got to invite friends over to his birthday because we couldn't do it in the apartment complex. Like it's just all these stories that actually are real that come out. That's what makes it like really cool, that I think a lot of consumers don't see that behind the scenes, and probably as agents and lenders, we should do a better job at like highlighting that portion.
True.
Those are the moments that are like, wow, this is cool,
This might have to be our Thanksgiving episode, because I'm feeling pretty thankful.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. So let's take a little trip here real quick. Let's take a time machine back to when you had, this particular transaction happen in your career, where you walk away from that and you went, this is why I want to do this forever, right? If you went back in time and you found that transaction when it was like the aha moment, like this is why, right? What was that?
Yeah, I mean, I think going along with the story we just told, I met this single female teacher who felt like she could never afford a home. She had 2 kids. One was in elementary, one was in middle school. It was that exact story I just told you, that they could never have anybody over for the birthday parties for the son because they felt like the apartment complex wasn't big enough. Yeah. And it was such an amazing feeling for that. And that was probably 2 years ago now. And actually just 2 months ago, she referred her brother to me. Yeah. So just, I think, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I'll go on to say that like one of the coolest aspects for me is like you're getting involved in seeing so many things about their lives. Yeah. And it truly transitions over into being a counselor for them.
right.
Like I can think of one family now the family is very special for me. I met their dad off of a call that normally I maybe wouldn't have jumped, but it's the type of call that he's like, "Hey, I need to see this house right now," and maybe comes off as not a nice person, And I go and meet with him, and he says, "Well, I'm divorcing my wife. I gotta rent this place right now," and we got him into the rental right away. And after that, he sent me 5 of his kids
Oh,
to
wow.
all buy houses over the years.
Yeah.
And that gentleman just passed away.
Oh.
And so, like, in this journey of my time, right, I've gotten to know their entire family, and I've gotten to just be a part of it, and like, I don't know, that moment is special to me too.
Yeah. Well, there's a bond there, and that just
Yeah.
shows the level of relationship that you're creating with these people that you're helping,
Yeah.
and you're helping the whole family, and they get to know you. And, not, Dad passed away, and I'm sure you got that phone call, but,
Right.
Yeah. That's so important. Well, and I know why that other story resonates to you, because you were that teacher at one point in time. And
Sure.
I know you knew other teachers that were potentially single and maybe couldn't afford a home and didn't know how they could do it. And you got to bring her dreams true.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's such a special thing. So, well, we
Yeah.
would love to keep you here all day, and I think we could, because this has just been an absolute pleasure. But what have we not tackled today that we should have?
Let's see. Yeah, I'll say, I'm here in the Houston area and available to serve anybody. My tagline that I market is, I help sellers and buyers maximize the equity in their home. And so that means when you're on the buy side, we're going to absolutely make sure you're not overpaying anything. And when you're on the sell side, we're going to maximize the top price that you can get. And so, yeah, reach out. I'm here to serve. I answer the phone between 8 and 8 each day.
And what's the contact information when they want to find you?
Absolutely. My phone number is 713-303-8903. You could also find me on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok at Tiffani Reynolds Realtor. And you could email me at tiffanyreynolds@kw.com or find it on there, on those web pages.
Yeah. Well, Tiffani, I know you said that your model is that you're going to help people get the max, but it's not just about that. They're going to get some amazing service from somebody who truly cares and is passionate. And, I feel your energy. You're a beautiful person, and we love what you're doing. And thank you for being here with us today. Honored to spend an afternoon with you. So,
thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Dave, anything you want to say to Tiffani before we wrap this one up today?
I really appreciate you being on the call. But for all our viewers out there, if you're looking for real estate in the Houston market, and Houston's a big city, Tiffani covers it all, guys. I'm telling you, she'll go from north, south, east, and west. And and let's remember what she said. She'll do anything for a 5-star review. So I mean, so when you call her, say, "What are you willing to do for a 5-star?" Let's hold her accountable to that, guys. So yeah, call Tiffani if you're looking for real estate in the Houston area. She's your woman.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, Tiffani, again, we appreciate having you here today. And guys, I think we're going to call it a wrap today. So we're your Real Estate Success Partners. I'm Devin Dubuc.
I'm David Wynn.
If you want to check us out, come on over to realestatesuccesspartner.com. Again, that's realestatesuccesspartner.com. Or if you want to find us on YouTube, and we think you should, because you get to meet Tiffani over there and see her bright, bubbly face. So find us over there at the Dubuc team. Again, that's at the Dubuc team. And you can check us out at IG, Facebook, and TikTok, all at the Dubuc team. But we appreciate the likes, the comments, and the subscribes. Until the next time, we'll see you then.
See you guys.